The EFF leader Julius Malema has now finished his testimony in the East London Magistrates Court. He's been tried for allegedly discharging a rifle in public in 2018. In his defence, Malema says he was holding a toy gun. He's described the case against him as a witch hunt. Judgment in the matter will now be handed down on the 1st of November. Our reporter Sipha Kema was in court this morning.
We saw certain members of the EFF as well as members of parliament from the EFF that were there, and also some of the regional and provincial executives from the EFF had filled out the gallery. They took up majority of the space. So obviously during his testimony and some of the points that he was making, or rather somewhat comical responses to the state, that's when most of them then would laugh. But of course there was also a brief confusion that had everyone in laughter when the magistrate had thought that in the video when Dr. Ndlozi was actually singing Macarena dance. That's where the laughter was coming from. As expected, that this was going to be quite a showdown between the state as well as the EFF leader. As we saw him, of course, as part of during the testimony or the cross-examination, the state had actually said, the prosecutor had actually said quite a few times that, he is not answering questions correctly or answering questions sufficiently, and refusing to answer questions, saying at some point that he will stand down if Malema continues not to answer questions, or rather redirect the questions that he's been given. We heard that a few times, and just as he also had concluded giving testimony is when the state had said he's done with the cross-examination. Now, obviously, there are some points that are key takeaways from today's proceedings that we took away. We said that AfriForum is the one that actually had sort of or allegedly, twisted the arm of those police officers to open a case. It wasn't the police officers that were there that actually opened the case. It was AfriForum. And if we do remember, in the first sitting ever of this trial, AfriForum was actually present, attending the court cases right in the beginning, as they were the ones who had conducted a private prosecution, or rather actually had asked for some of those officers to later charge and open a case against Julius Malema, but they have not been coming to court. But of course, court has been continuing with or without them. And I think another important matter to speak about was the gun issue. That's the biggest conversation or argument that there was during these proceedings this week, was whether this was a fake gun or was it a real gun. Was he carrying a rifle or was it a hand pistol? All the technicalities as well that came with it saw the firearm experts, the defense opening up with a firearm expert as well as a ballistics expert. Now, from what we understand, those are the only three witnesses the defense is bringing in, the firearm expert as well as ballistics expert, as well as Julius Malema on the witness stand. But now they're due to come back on the 1st of November for judgment. But we do know that between then, now and then, there's going to argue their head arguments to the magistrate.